Whatever part of the world you're currently listening to our Face Economics video blog on our Face Economics YouTube TV channel and eventually podcast. Today's May the 14th, and guess what? The weather is beautiful once again, and I decided to go out for a quick walk and talk about some of the current events and affairs that's happening around the world. As most of you are aware, President Trump is currently in China, and he's brought quite a bit of entourage with him, mostly CEOs and executives of Fortune 500 companies. Okay, folks, not the typical diplomat entourage. But hey, business is business, and economic development is the mission. So yeah, all these big wig multi-billion dollar executives was until for that US China summit. Okay, so we're going to be talking about diplomacy. Okay, I just think it's timely for us to discuss certain skill set and, you know, character that you have to have, in my opinion at least, to be a diplomat. Anyway, this is going to be a short video blog today, just because I'm actually on my way to pick up my little baby girl's pictures, my Princess Bella's pictures that I ordered. So I'm gonna cut off the transmission once I get to the store. But until then, we'll talk about diplomacy and the skill set, character, and personality of what I think and believe is, skilled diplomat. So what is diplomacy, first of all? Diplomacy is not just an event, not just an interaction, but it's an attitude. Most and foremost, the attitude of a person. What is diplomacy? Is that being kind, understanding, and forgiving, while being productive, and try to find a solution to an issue amicably that will mutually benefit both you and your counterpart. So I believe that's what diplomacy is about. It's not trying to, outsmart or outdo your counterpart. It's about finding a mutually acceptable solution to an issue, to a problem, or conflict even. Most of the time, at least back in the day, diplomacy was seen as, I win, you lose type of engagement. Okay, and obviously, if you reflect on the past, during World War I and World War II, well, I rest my case. That's why there were World War I and World War II, because the diplomats of those times were trying to outfox each other. So it's not diplomacy. It's more like my way or the highway. Right, folks? So I apologize. People are leaving their offices and now heading back home. So there's quite a bit of traffic here. I'm gonna try to avoid this road and walk through a different route so that all this street noise will disappear and you guys can actually hear me. So going back to diplomacy in the purest form of diplomacy is finding a mutually agreeable solution to an issue among people from different societies, culture, mindset, value systems, and powers. That's what diplomacy is typically associated with. Okay, power, soft power. Now, why am I talking about this in lieu of the current summit between the US and China? Mainly because both countries tend to dog each other. We tend to bad mouth each other regarding our foreign policy, our market dynamics, political agenda, you name it. The US and China have been banging heads on quite a bit of issues. And now, both of our heads of states are having to come to terms and amicably agree on certain issues and subjects, and some of them agree to disagree also. But overall, the agenda is capacity building, economic development, trade, and commercial development. Okay, folks, that's the main agenda as far as what I understand for this summit. Why is it important? It's important because now that we live in the year 2026 and everybody's racing each other to the top, very few people, at least the superpowers of the world, wants to engage in any form of conflict. They're more interested in economic development, okay? Building their capacity and exploding the markets and becoming wealthy and wealthier and prosperous. That's today's agenda for any country. Doesn't matter the size, okay? That's why it's important to appreciate the nature and the value of diplomacy. All right, folks. So with that said, going back to what I was talking about, diplomacy was misused in the past, okay? And that is how conflict and overall friction tends to manifest itself. That's just how it did overall, okay? So why am I talking about all of this today? Because now that the two superpowers of the world, the Western Hemisphere and the Eastern Hemisphere, came together, they're most likely going to be talking about limiting conflicts around the world and escalating wars, because it doesn't serve the purpose of economic development. You don't want to destabilize a market politically or economically, because it's not going to grow. Are you guys connecting the dots now? Diplomacy is the linchpin, okay, to a stable and flourishing world marketplace. Okay, I mean, that's just the reality of things, folks. You have to be able to work with those that disagree with you. and not jump into, you know, an escalation that would precipitate into a war conflict. All right, folks. So anyway, I see all you guys asking for a shout out. I'm gonna mention you in a few minutes here. I just want to keep on talking about diplomacy because very few people have had experience dealing with other people from different societies, political agenda, government, you know, policy. Not a whole lot of people get involved or have had experience in these kinds of environments. The only way that you can really associate yourself to diplomacy is by being kind to people that don't think, look, and act like you. And, you know, overall agenda. Okay, folks. So that's why we're talking about diplomacy, because diplomacy is really not really much of a science per se, even though people try to make it to be like a science. Let me teach you the way that we should operate. Is the agenda of these people that claim diplomacy is a science. It's just being honest and transparent and truthful with your counterpart. Okay? If you disagree, just explain why you disagree and try to amicably solve your disagreement. That's the real raw form of diplomacy. Okay? It's not trying to outsmart each other like they teach you in a diplomatic setting in a classroom for a foreign service. That's never the case for the true diplomacy. True diplomacy is about being honest with your counterpart, trying to find a solution that you guys are mutually going to benefit from, and endorse a concept and idea to the point that you win hearts and minds. Okay, that's what true diplomacy is. Okay, so the reason that I want to talk about this is because this summit between Mr. Trump and Mr. Xi of China is going to create a ripple effect around the world. Okay, because it's going to increase potential of various markets. And those markets that are going through a lot of economic turmoil will also be affected positively. Okay? Because what they're going to do is to come into an agreement in which they're going to be talking about capacity building. And that is why Mr. Trump brought all those CEOs with him. I didn't bring any napkins with me. I should have brought some napkins. I'm still under the weather. I'm actually having to fight this little cold. So I gotta. But anyways, that's the reason why all those CEOs went with Mr. Trump to China to influence the executive business population in China. And hopefully the Chinese would reciprocate by wanting to provide a solution, not having to bang heads and disagree all the time, even though I've already heard that there's been quite a bit of a disagreement already before Mr. Trump's plane even landed in China. So diplomacy is the gold standard in today's world. And I think the Trump administration is definitely willing to exercise diplomacy. Okay? and promote diplomacy around the world. What happened to the turtle? There was a turtle here yesterday. I wonder if somebody had rescued him. Alright, where's the turtle? There was a turtle here. Disappeared though. I don't see him. Anyway, that's the whole point for, this event that took place. The discussion between Mr. Trump and Mr. Xi, because they wanted to try to figure out what to do with their economies, basically. And I think that's just going to be the overall situation until they're up there. So why am I talking about it now that most of the people in our countries don't really care much about each other's economies or politics? Mainly because diplomacy was not promoted, okay, in either countries among each other, okay, because we always banging heads and we're always, trying to outdo each other, and they're always bad-mouthing each other. So it's very hard to promote diplomacy when both countries are engaged in a lot of this mudslinging and unproductive bickering, and now they're seeing it head on as they engage on this diplomatic summit, Mr. Xi and Mr. Trump. All right, folks. So the moral of the story is avoid mudslinging and talking poorly and badly about other, people that you disagree with. Say why you disagree with them, and then let the public decide. All right, quick shout out. Jaden Arthur, how are you? Thanks for joining me. Ushman Reliman, hello. Okay, Cheyenne, thanks for joining me today. So make sure to like, subscribe, and share our YouTube channel with your family and friends, folks. We're trying to grow our platform and overall community, and hopefully we can touch hearts and minds so that people would want to, contribute to the positive, evolution of our societies, whatever part of the world you're located. Okay, it's not just an American thing. I think everybody should promote, positivity, being kind to each other, look for solutions that benefits more than yourself. And let's see if we can find some turtles here. The reason so many people are always up against the wall and are always angry and bitter is because they constantly look out for themselves. Can you all see their heads? They're kind of on breaking the surface. There's one turtle right there with his head right there, and another one over there. See him. And here's another one. So the reason people are so angry and so bitter is because they're not doing anything to make things easier on other people. Once you try to make this world a better place and you focus your attention on the betterment of the general public rather than just you, yourself, and I all the time, it makes you feel as if you actually have a purpose, which you do. Always find purpose with your life, find meaning to make you happy. All right, folks, that's how things should be. All right, folks, it's important that you don't just look out for your interests, look out for other people's interests too, even if that means you would have to give up some of your comforts so others could have, you know, a little bit of comfort. All right, folks, that's how society ought to operate. I mean, as many of you are aware, I'm also a business owner. I'm an entrepreneur, and I want to create, you know, wealth for myself and for everyone around me. It's not a bad thing, but don't make it, you know, the only thing in your life. Okay? It's important that you try to contribute to society, give something back to the world, to the society. You know, don't just take things and keep taking and taking and not contribute to any betterment within your society. Okay, folks. So I'm fairly close to where I need to go. Got maybe 5 to 6 more minutes of walk. But I just wanted you guys to know that I appreciate you, and I appreciate your continued support for our platform. And I believe one day we will hit that 1,000 subscriber mark, and we'll just keep on growing and adding more followers and subscribers to our channel as a community. So the purpose of faceconomics is to actually you know, build the capacity of the marketplace so that everybody's going to be better off, and there's going to be a unity of economic development worldwide, so people can benefit from resources that they never had, you know, the opportunity to access in the past. So those are the things that we want to focus in on. All right, folks. Yeah. So make sure to share our channel with your family and friends. Tell them about the faceconomics platform, our strategy, and why you believe that people should follow us and listen to our platform in today's market reality in the year 2026. So that's our overall agenda at this point. So yes, folks, make sure to share, subscribe, and like our platform. So my name is Al Mina. I am the faceconomics concept author, and thank you so much for your shout out there and saying hello. I'm fairly close to the store where I need to go, so I'm gonna have to cut off my video blog. But before I do, I would like to ask that you guys subscribe, share our YouTube channel and faceconomics podcast with your family and friends. Okay, folks, tell them about us, help us grow our channel and spread, you know, the betterment of society through economic development worldwide. With this said, folks, until we see you again, wow, I'm doing good with my time. I've only got 20 minutes that I've burned off walking, but it's been a pleasure to be talking to you, and until we meet again, take care.